Hi guys, I know I've been away for a while and I don't want to be on camera because you know how I am. I never like how I look lately. So, even though I'm getting, a while back I told you I was getting some treatments called radio frequency, they're not overly exorbitantly priced, but they cost about $50 or $60 per session. So I'm going once a month. So I think they are helping a bit, but I still haven't found a steady job, so I might lay off on those for a little while. And I started a community newspaper in the part of town that the underserved community where I bought my little property. And I'm finding little pockets of beauty. Like every time I go, I do a little research and I find another little story or something to write about. So I'm having fun with that right now, and I'm trying to encourage the people of the area to also give articles. So about two people, well, one girl wrote an article and another girl asked me to post about the nonprofit that she works for. So I did that. But so far I haven't gotten a lot of people to write articles, but I've only published one issue, and the problem is I have it online because that's cheap, but then to print it actually to paper, I've got to find a printer, like someone who'll do newspaper print or something, and that gets kind of expensive because you got to pay for the paper and the printing and all that. So that's where I end up not getting a lot of circulation, because it's fine. You can, a community newspaper, any kind of newspaper you can post online, but some people just like to have the paper in their hands still. Especially, older people, but even my age, 50s. I like to have actual books and paper in my hand when I'm reading longer articles. For short articles, I don't mind going online, but for longer articles, which some of them are a little bit longer, like take 3 or 4 minutes to read, people kind of still like to have the paper. So I published a PDF version that people can print at home on their own, so if they want, they can do that. But I still am trying to work out the issue where I could publish and have them delivered to doorsteps like the other community newspapers do. And that's an investment. In order to do that, I'd have to sell advertising, and then I don't want the paper to get too commercialized, because I hate those. Everybody and his mother has a community newspaper. It's especially like in Coral Gables, there are like all these little flyers and newspapers, and so it's not like it would stand out too much in other parts of town. But in the part of town that I'm dealing with, it would stand out because there isn't another community newspaper for there. So, but it's an investment. And then, I could get advertising. That was my point. But I don't want it to get so much advertising, because that's what these little newspapers that you get have. It's just like pure advertising, and then maybe 1 or 2 nice articles, and then maybe some information about the city, and elections coming up, who's running, just community news. But it's so much advertising. I mean, so I don't know. I'll see about that still. I mean, it's right now I'm kind of having fun with it and learning about the community and finding good things to donate. I could maybe do some fundraisers. But anyway, doing this is almost like having a full-time job. I mean, I spend more hours than I did on any job I've ever had, but I'm not getting any money for it, and it's just sort of a good. So then someone else said, well, why don't you open a nonprofit? And so there's all kind of, and then it's I don't feel like doing all that stuff. I just want to write nice articles and have fun and encourage others to write, and I've offered to help people write articles. And well, have a look, libertycityobserver.com, if you're interested. But the news won't really be relevant unless you live in the area, in the Miami area, then maybe. But But actually, anybody can. I'm inviting anyone to write an article. But of course, the article, I want it to be relevant to the community that I'm dealing in. So that's the only thing. So anyway, that's what's kind of kept me busy for the past few weeks. And that's it. And I'm still temping. And some weeks I haven't even been getting temping jobs. So that's... But I'm applying for... If you hear my stomach growling, I'm sorry. I'm not hungry. I actually just ate. But it's my food digesting. I hope you didn't hear that. I'm applying for I'm going to apply for work as a substitute teacher. Because I was figuring it out. Substitute teachers earn about as much as what I earned as a secretary. I never earned that much anyway. And it's 2 hours less work per day. You get summers off. It's an hourly wage. So at summers I would probably have to temp or do something else. But I'm a person that kind of likes to not be committed to jobs. I've always been that way. That's why I've never really advanced in my career, in any career, because I never really committed to any particular job for longer than a few years. And so yeah, I'm doing that. I got to get my college transcripts. I have all summer, but I have to take a course. So that by August, I think classes start in August, or at least they start calling you in August. So by then I should have it all done so that I can actually, have the qualifications. You have to, since I don't have any preparation in teaching, in Florida you have to take a course, like a 2-day course, intensive, about substitute teaching. And I have to send my college transcripts and, fill out an application. I think they're going to do a background check and make sure I'm not a felon. And I don't know what else they do. Drug test, which I'll pass, I'm sure. But I don't know. Remember in what was it? Seinfeld. I used to watch that show. I know every episode. Elaine had to get a drug test. She's one of the characters if you don't watch Seinfeld. And apparently she'd eaten a poppy seed bagel that morning because poppy, that's what opium is made from. I'm sure that's not true in real life, but you've got to suspend your disbelief for the show. So she had a drug test and she came out positive for like heroin because she had eaten a poppy seed bagel that morning. So But unless something like that happens, I believe I will pass the drug test. And it'll be nice, and I feel I have a lot to offer kids. I know that substitute teachers have it hard because you're not even the regular teacher, so the kids probably misbehave. I remember when I was in school and we had a sub teacher, we were like, yeah, it's going to be an easy day. And, we would just, whatever, make fun of the teacher and make it difficult for her. Not me personally, but I remember how it was, but I don't care. I think I'll be fine. I raised 4 stepkids, and I know what it is like to be with youth. Hopefully I'll get like little kids, like grammar school, and they're a little easier. But if they send me to like teens, but I'll deal with it. The good thing is, since I know that I'm a substitute, I'm only there, a short time. So whatever they throw at me, I know that, I'm leaving soon. So I think I'll be fine. I think I know how to not be offended by teens. I kind of don't, I don't know, teens or anyone, because I know it's different in real life than on Facebook, but I've been insulted all the time on YouTube, not every single day, but occasionally people on my sewing channel or other channel. Not on this channel, because I think this channel is all people who followed me here because they liked me. It wasn't because they were expecting anything from me as far as, ASMR or teaching sewing or something. So here I don't think I've ever gotten a mean comment. But not to say it can't happen, but so far. But on the other channels, it's my phone. Hang on a sec. I'm not answering. It's a telemarketer, I can tell. Dismiss. Even though sometimes I answer anyway, so I tell them to get me off their list. But I don't feel like answering right now. And where was I? Oh, yeah, so like I don't care. Like occasionally I'll delete the comment only because I don't want it to start up a whole, because what's happened in the past also, like somebody has put a mean comment, let's say, on one of my other channels. And then the people who are my supporters who like me respond to that person and tell them something mean, and then the person responds back and this and that. So one time there was this person that wrote a kind of a mean comment, and I ignored it. I usually just ignore them, you know. That's whatever. Ignore them, or if it's something that's like a little bit too much, I delete it. But not because I care that they said anything to me, but to avoid what I was just talking about, where someone else might feel they have to defend me because they're being nice, you know, to defend me, and then the person responds and it gets into a fight, and you know, so I usually just delete those kind of comments that are going to start some kind of controversy. For that reason. But yeah, I kind of don't care when people say stuff. I don't know. I guess I was kind of bullied a little bit in one year in school. Just one year I was bullied. But even the other years I wasn't bullied as bad. But I've always been kind of a little bit of a geeky person. So, you know, I would get kind of teased a little bit. Not bullied, you know, beyond like what's reasonable. But I would sometimes get teased for stuff. And it would hurt back then. But I guess if you're bullied and teased, if you survive it, of course, you kind of develop a thicker skin in part. So maybe that's what it is. So now if someone points out something about a quirk or something weird about me, yeah, kind of like, I don't know. It's not even like, I just don't care. I don't know. I just, it's kind of strange because, you know, it's something that could, other people might think is so completely insulting, and yeah, maybe it is. I don't know, but anyway. Oh, so that's why I think I'll be able to handle it if I work with teens, if they send me to an assignment where I have to teach teens. You know, they'll make fun of me. And yeah, and my stepkids, they got to a part where they mouthed off, and oh God, they were so annoying. In that case, it was annoying because I was living with them and I had to see them every day, and it was kind of constant. And so, you know, that did, but I think because I got through all that, you know, if one kid says something to me or online or maybe even in person, because it actually did happen to me. I was volunteering one day at one of the events, and some young kid, he was probably, 10 or 11. I mean, he was really young. He said something kind of mean. And, you know, I heard part of it. I didn't hear the whole thing, but I could tell he was doing some kind of insults, you know, about, like, insult, but like, you know, how kids do it, like, because they think it's funny in front of their friends, and it's not because they're really being, or at least that's how I took it. He's like, oh, he's acting tough in front of his friends. So I didn't even actually hear exactly what he said, but I heard parts of it, so I could tell it. And a girl, an older girl, I guess, who had seen me volunteering and thought I was nice, you know, whipped around and, you know, was like hitting him, but hitting him like, again, like one of those teen things. I don't think she should have hit him. She didn't hit him hard, but like she's hitting him like on the arm and like trying to get him to be quiet. And, you know, says, oh, kids, don't fight. It's fine. You know, let's, you know, whatever. But, so I could tell he must have said something really bad. And, you know, I can imagine. I'm not even going to go into detail what it probably was. But because she said to him, you racist. That's what she said to him. So apparently he must have said something about my race, which is, you know, I mean, it happens either way. Sometimes white people will be very racist against black people. Some black people might say a racist thing about a white person, or a Latino also. Latinos, you know, it's wrong in all cases, I think. But, and, you know, I don't want to be making differences, but supposedly it shouldn't matter. Well, I don't want to get into controversial things, but it's kind of, it shouldn't hurt. I know it sounds, and I don't want to get into this, you know, controversial stuff. Like I try to keep non-controversy here, but it shouldn't matter as much to a white person, supposedly. So, And it really didn't. I really didn't care because, you know, it's like, whatever, he's dumb. He was 11 or 12. You know, at that age, 10, he was probably like 10 or 11, actually. At that age, you don't maybe necessarily even know the history of the whole thing. You know, it's just something you heard and you repeat and, you know. So I wouldn't expect. Now, if it were a man my age who would have said something like that, then I still wouldn't have gotten too angry or anything, but I would have expected him to know better, you know. And you do have to correct any age person a young kid, you should try to correct at least, you know, so they understand that it's not a thing that you should do. But if it is done, I guess you take it on a case-by-case basis. But in this case, I wasn't offended. I don't know. And I think in most cases I wouldn't be. I'll just say this poor person is, you know, even if it would have been an older man like my age, I still would have been like, whatever. You know, I don't know. I wouldn't have, because it's happened to me too on the Metro Rail. But it was by a crazy man. It was by a homeless man you could tell had mental issues, and so he said something to me. And so, you know, in that case, I was like, you know, guy's crazy, whatever. So I didn't care. So, you know, I guess so far I've never been in a situation where it's something that I could really take seriously. I don't know. But I guess I don't know how I would confront it, even if somebody did. I guess I would just walk away. I'd say, okay, obviously the person is not liking me, so I think I'll just, you know, go away from the person so that, you know, they don't get angrier with me. And I don't know how I would handle it, but knowing myself, I would likely, and at this age and having lived a bit, I realize, you know, you're not going to convince the person otherwise. I turn on the air. I'm having less hot flashes, by the way. I think I'm done with the hot flash stage. Like, if you're interested. But I did feel warm today because it's hot outside. So yeah, I guess that's how I would handle it. I mean, I can't think of a time it's ever happened to me where I was in fear for my life or anything. I mean, I've never feared for my life ever from another person. So I'm fortunate. I'm very fortunate. Or maybe I'm dumb. Maybe I've been endangered and I just never knew it. And I've been lucky. But I've never felt threatened. I never felt my life threatened by another person. But, you know, so that's fortunate, and I hope I never do. I go off on a tangent. But anyway, my point is, I think that I could take whatever anyone dishes out in a middle school or high school. We'll see, time will tell. But the way I feel right now, I think it's a job that I know that I could do, and probably even teach kids a thing or two, you know. And so that's all. So I just wanted to fill you in, because I know you guys kind of, if I haven't been on in a while, you might wonder where I've been. And, you know, nothing really too exciting to tell other than I'm just continuing my life. Oh, well, an ex-boyfriend called me. That's something that's kind of curious. It's an ex-boyfriend. It's a guy I dated when I was in my early 30s, living in Washington, D.C. He was a bit older. So we dated a few months, and then we broke up, but just, you know, we kind of grew apart. It wasn't any big tragic breakup. It was just kind of like whatever. I was thinking about moving to Miami, and he wanted to kind of find a woman to have a baby with at the time. And I wasn't at the stage of my life where I wanted a baby. And so, not that we ever openly spoke about it, but we just weren't in the same place in life. And so I came to Miami around that time after we broke up, like a few months later. I didn't break up to come to Miami, but we broke up, and then I started, you know, thinking about seriously moving to Miami, where I had thought about it before. And in the meantime, he met a girl, and he got married. So, had a child with her. And now here we are, both of us divorced. That was, let's see, it was 97 when I left DC. So it was probably 96 that I was dating the guy. So what are we, 22 years later now? Is it? Yeah, because 96, then we had 2006, 2016 would have been 20 years. So 2018. So yeah, about 22 years later, we're both divorced. We both had experiences in life. He's retired. And we were friends on we've been friends on Facebook for a while. So I guess, over the years, he's kind of seen pictures of me. I put up semi-decent pictures of myself. I never put up really hideous pictures. And I update them every once in a while. And, I post things. So I'm sort of out there on Facebook. He doesn't post as often. Occasionally he'll post. But, I don't know, I guess something I posted, or over the years he kind of was feeling it on Facebook. I don't know, because that's the only way he was in touch with me again. And so out of the blue, 2 or 3 months ago, he called. He said, hey, just calling to say hi. Thought I'd give you a call and whatever. So I was like, oh, that's cool. He called. That's kind of neat. Let's, So I wasn't home. He left a message. So then I gave him my cell phone. He had my home phone number, which is the same one that my parents have now, but it was the same one I had back when I first moved to Miami. So he had that number, but I gave him my current cell phone number. So now he's been calling every night. And we talk a little bit, and he actually did come to Miami to visit for 4 days, but we just, nothing romantic happened. We were just friends when he was here. So we'll see. I didn't feel any particular, like, what do you call it when something hits you like a bolt of lightning? I didn't feel that, but I thought he looked cute, and I guess he must like me if he calls me every night. But I don't know, he doesn't seem to be head over heels either. I think it's more of a more mature connection where we're companion, we are looking for companionship as far as friends and someone to talk to. And so that's, it's kind of nice. I'm kind of looking forward to him calling every night just to shoot the breeze. And we talk about nothing, nothing too exciting, just daily life. And his son is now in his teens, so it's a tough time. And my friend has been divorced actually from the mother of his son for about 4 or 5 years. So I don't think he's had a serious relationship since. I think he's dated. I've dated too. So. But yeah, teens, I know, because I was through it. And I think that's why he likes to talk to me. Sometimes he tells me about, oh, my son did this and that. And I'm like, oh yeah, I remember my stepkids would do this and do that. And so we have something in common there to talk about. At least, we both raised kids, even though mine weren't my real kids, but it was almost like raising my own almost, not my own kids, but I know what it's like to live with teens. And I was a teen once, and I was a difficult teen as far as at home. And I was a bad student. So, I was a kind of a difficult teen. I didn't get into serious trouble, but I was a bad student. I mouthed off. I mouthed off. I know I seem so nice and sweet now, but I mouthed off a lot to both my parents, but especially to my mother. And now I fight with my parents. I live with them and I fight with them, and so that's kind of frustrating. And but I'll see what I have to finish some things. And yeah, maybe once I start, I know I keep on doing this, like I've been doing this for 5 years, like, oh, maybe once I start this, but I just have not been able to find, I haven't been able to find steady work. I maybe haven't looked as hard as I could, but I know that if I did find steady work, then I'd have that problem that I always have where I'm stuck, committed to a job. I start to get anxious and I find an excuse to leave. And so I make a little money online with I write articles online for my other blog. I'm not making any money on this community newspaper blog, but I make a little bit of money off my other blog and these YouTube channels, not this channel anymore, because now you have to have 1,000 subscribers and I don't know how many views per month, so this channel doesn't make the bill. But my sewing channel still produces, you know, with very little effort, it produces a little bit of money because people like 1 or 2 of the videos on there. They watch a lot. And, you know, I sell some patterns and this and that. So I make a little bit of money per month. I mean, I can live on it, not having to pay rent or bills or anything. I can actually live on it. It's like being a teenager and having a job. And so, yeah, I don't necessarily feel motivated to move out, and then I'll have to pay bills and rent. I can't afford. If I have to pay rent and bills and all that, I can't afford unless I get a full-time job, which we'll see. Once I'm teaching, maybe between the teaching and then some of the online stuff and a few, there's so many things you can do to make money online. You know, content writing, which I'm actually going to research that. But we'll see. I really don't want to do a nonprofit for this newspaper because then you become obligated to other, you're held to a higher standard, and you have to justify every single cost, which I'm not really great at. I'm good at roughly guessing costs. So as long as I don't have a nonprofit, that's fine. It's sort of like my own little hobby thing. But if I wanted to start printing, you know, I'll either have to start selling advertising or getting a sponsor. I was thinking I could do a sponsor per month. So that sponsor would get his name put in the paper as the sponsor of the month. It would be one of the local businesses. And he would only have to pay for the printing costs of actually printing it a hard copy. And I would try to find a cheap printer, and so I might do that instead. And that way I only have to answer to myself, and I don't, you know. But if I actually start making enough money, I even would like to be able to pay people to produce content for me. But right now, I'm backwards as far as earnings. I don't earn anything. And if I wanted to print, I mean, I was thinking of just covering the printing costs, but yeah, maybe if 1 or 2 people wrote articles, like really interesting articles that I requested, then, and they'd have to be well researched and all that. I mean, it can't be just, oh, I'm going to write this cute little article and you have to pay me. No, it would have to be an article that I request, you know, that I want someone to do, that I want them to do the detailed research. They have got to show me their sources, you know, make sure it's not plagiarized, and, you know, then of course I would be willing to pay, but it's something that I would commission. So eventually, if I could pay, you know, to improve the quality of the paper, I would probably get more interesting articles if I offered pay to professional writers, but I can't do that right now. And the good thing is with this paper, if you write an article, and I'm going to have to show that more, I'm going to have to push that more. You can write an article, I'll publish it, and then you can offer the articles outside of my paper to other publishers other publishers may want to pay you for the article. And then, of course, I would resign. I don't have any rights to the articles. If you write an article for the paper, you retain all your rights to take it down when you want. Maybe you'll decide, okay, I want to sell the article to another publisher, but that publisher demands that they be the only one publishing the article. Well, then I will delete it from my paper. I mean, the articles it's a monthly, so after 1 month, I actually don't even care, you know, if they want to delete it from my paper, if they want me to delete it from my paper so that they can have an exclusive offer from some other place, that's fine. But they can, in the meantime, use my paper to refer people to articles that they've written. Like if they're trying to get work as a writer, say, oh yeah, I've got some of my articles published here in this community newspaper or there or the other. So that's one thing I offer, exposure to up-and-coming writers. And anyways, it's still even taping. I guess it is, but the battery's running low. Okay, so thanks for listening, guys. Talk to you soon. Bye.